What's up peeps, how's it going? Toofty here. And today we have the third and final part of this Thunder Mountain Sentry spot guide for you. There's a couple of really awesome spots on this map I wanted to show you. One of my favourite spots of all time actually is on this map. So yeah, really look forward to sharing that with you. I'm also going to talk a little bit about some general engineer concepts and tips for this map. So I hope you enjoy, and let's jump straight in. Okay, so let's take a look at the map. So the blue team will be spawning over here. So this is kind of the central area to the map where most of the action seems to take place. The cart starts about here and then starts its journey up this spiral, round these corners and through into this tunnel here. So I haven't actually got the entire map broken out for you, but this will give you hopefully a good idea. So there is a room in that direction and it has a control point in it. The cart comes back out along this straight, again through another kind of area where there's another control point, back out for the final stretch, up the spire into the last control point. So I couldn't find like a perfect image of the entire map, but hopefully this one will do. I've got images of each of the areas so we can look at them in more detail in just a sec, but focusing on this middle area to begin with. So I tend to see a lot of engineers building at the very top of the spire. This is probably what you're going to see 90% of the time. It can be fairly effective. It's extremely vulnerable up there. If you're against a decent team, they won't let you take control of this top area so easily. So it's not somewhere I like to build straight away. And to be honest, at the very start of the round, there's a much stronger place you can be building. So this is where I recommend setting up to begin with. This room is just outrageously neglected and it's the ideal place to hold for the beginning of the match, in my opinion anyway. So the blue team will be coming up these stairs and kind of through the tunnel as well. Occasionally they'll come through the top left area as well. So potentially they're coming from a lot of directions. The one I'm going to talk about today, which is my favourite, is just on the top of this staircase here. And I have it just looking in the direction where all the blue guys are going to be coming from. Obviously, as you get to map 3, you tend to be on the underdogs team. Obviously, the blue team have beaten you twice already. But I can certainly say for myself, building in this room, and in this spot in particular, I've been able to help put up a really good defence for this last map. So yeah, I'm going to jump in and talk a little bit more about that now. So first thing I'm doing here is just putting a dispenser down just behind that wall there. It doesn't really matter what order you do it in, to be honest, because you have plenty of time to get set up in this map. But the sentry gun just goes right on the corner there of that staircase. By putting it here, it can look all the way through those 3 doorways, and it also kind of covers your right hand side as well. So immediately now, I've fast forwarded time a bit. I mean, there was another engineer kind of building, but his sentry gun does go down quite quickly. So I've fast forwarded time to get to the interesting bit, and now we're under a bit of pressure. As you can see, it's kind of shooting right across this room. The moment they're kind of poking their head out of those doorways, they're getting shot at quite nicely. And obviously as the cart comes around the corner as well, it just about sees down there too. In this case, it's quite unusual. I actually get attacked from this back route, which I don't see very often, but obviously if this does happen, you're just going to have to try and fend him off with a shotgun like I do here. Just making sure I've always got a dispenser up. A teleporter can be useful too, mainly for yourself if you go down, but getting the team in is great too to support you and help you out. But yeah, here you can see even a heavy, he comes around that corner and the sentry gun deals with him really nicely. It's just kind of an awkward place for other people to try and take out. So it's definitely worth trying out and it's a lot of fun. The only downside is, and this has never happened before, so I was very unfortunate here, but whilst I was getting harassed by this spy and I just about managed to protect my sentry gun, the cart actually sneaks on past. And like I said, never happened before, but goes to show that it can happen. Normally you can be vigilant and just keep on top of it, but this time I was kind of unfortunate. Before we move on, I mean, there's a few in here to try out. On the ledge opposite, there's a good position there. Slightly further towards the big metal pack, that can work quite well. So yeah, just try it out, experiment, play around in this room, and I'm sure you'll find some awesome spots to build in. Okay, so now they've got the first control point. There are certain places where it's worth slowing them down, and there's certain places where they're bound to probably push through quite quickly. I find jumping to the other side of the map the best option for this point in the game. The enemies will be coming in from both sides through these doorways, so it is a little bit of a tricky area to build in. I see a lot of people building underneath this pathway in that kind of little alcove thing, which can be actually really strong. It's a very campy spot, you can't do much but heal your sentry gun if you're there, but it can be really difficult to take out. Now the only problem is, and this has happened to me a lot of times here, I do see people pushing past, kind of hiding behind the cart. So that's why I'm not going to talk about that one. I'm actually going to talk about one that I prefer at least, which is actually pretty much in the same position, but just above that one, so on the ledge above. So this one kind of has a lot to deal with from all sides really, and I've had mixed success with this one, but it's an awful lot of fun to try out. It's definitely my kind of style, building somewhere where it's a little bit kind of ambitious, if you like. It's trying to do a lot of things at once, and in this case it's definitely that. You're going to get attacked from a lot of angles. You find yourself very busy, and I've got some great footage to kind of show you exactly what it's like building here. You can also build on either end, but the problem is if you build on one side or the other, it can't necessarily reach the other side. So by building in the middle, it kind of pretty much covers everything-ish. So that's kind of another reason why I like building here. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that as we go into the game footage. Okay, so the enemy team are doing well here. I need to get up a base really quickly. I'm throwing down my sentry gun right in the middle there. As you can see, even that little fence, it's like it's been designed for this sentry gun. It's got like the little gap in the fence. But yeah, I'm putting the dispenser up behind me and just trying to get set up as quickly as I can. I do end up putting a teleporter up. It's not the most essential building by any means, but it's useful if you do die and somehow your sentry gun survives. You can get back here really quickly. So here we're getting threats from the right. It's taking care of them quite nicely. People down near the cart or on the track, again, takes care of them pretty well. Actually, probably the biggest vulnerability is to the left, where that heavy is. Because of those planks of wood, you can get like a demo man or something over there. If he's careful, he can sort of stay out of sight. So you kind of have to keep going in that direction to fend off anyone, any threats that are coming that way. Here I'm under quite a bit of pressure now, just keeping myself topped up, making sure my sentry gun's topped up. Like I said, pressuring that left-hand side. If the dispenser goes down, that's not a big problem. You can get it up again very quickly with all this metal and health. Just staying moving to avoid any spies, because what tends to happen is, if you've got a decent sentry defending the cart, someone will try and go spy to take you out. The other nice thing about this spot is you do have a massive metal pack behind you. You also have a health behind you, because as the spam comes in, you're probably going to take a bunch of damage, and so having that health pack behind you as well as your dispenser just keeps you nice and topped up at all times. This heavy's being very useful and giving my sentry gun a little punch, so thanks for that. But yeah, in this particular game, I feel like I put up a pretty good defense, and I helped hold the point for a good while. It was only I think I was getting attacked from a couple of sides there, and sentry gun does go down unfortunately, but it's definitely fine to have a goal of trying to hold for a certain amount of minutes, not necessarily hold for the rest of the game. So I was happy with that. So here's the other spot I did briefly mention, which was underneath. As I said, this has happened to me so many times before. Someone's just hiding behind the cart, pushing it along. I try and, take them out and stop them. I end up dying, and then, your sentry gun is effectively useless. So that's kind of the reason I don't build down there. So now you've made use of the two areas at the top and bottom of the map. This is where your last hope is, pretty much the centre of the map. So if I do build here, personally speaking, I build just about here, and 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 here. But yeah, basically, that was basically to demonstrate that I would go probably for the mini sentry now. Maybe a controversial choice, perhaps, but I'll explain a little bit as to why, personally, that's the choice I make at least. So one of the spots I like building on is just on this ledge here. It kind of looks over the cart, but it's quite subtle. People often don't notice it, but as they're pushing up that very last slope, they're being shot at. And they sometimes don't realise where they're getting shot at from if you put it there. Whereas on the top, obviously, it's a bit more obvious. But, on top is good too. Having it on the ledge like this covers a lot of area underneath where all the enemy team are spawning in. So having it in a more open space is fine too. I also like to keep a dispenser at the top of the spire, because you do tend to get a lot of teammates up here. Keep moving around, throwing it up in various places. That way, if it goes down, it's not a big deal, and you can always build somewhere else and, keep them on their toes. But yeah, the main thing to mention here is that if it does go down, try somewhere else and see how that goes. And yeah, as I said before, just, keep running around like a loony, distracting the enemies as much as you can. And yeah, it can work, as it does in this particular game. It can work out quite well. Sometimes, for me at least, better than a level 3 sentry gun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed these 3 episodes. It was a little taster for you of some of the positions I enjoy building in on the 3 maps of Thunder Mountain. There are obviously loads of others to try out, especially on this map where I've only touched upon 1 or 2 I like to use. So yeah, keep exploring. Let me know if there are any awesome spots you like to use on this map that I didn't mention today, and also let me know what map I should do next for my Sentry spot guides. I'd obviously love to do Swiftwater, but you know, you have to bear with me. I have to actually play the map a bit first, but I will hopefully eventually do that one too. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode.